I would say, I mean, it depends on if you would just throw it into ChatGPT or DeepSeek, just like without any context, it would still be okay. It's. I mean, I think AI is incredibly smart today. I love it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Homebase, another episode here today with Omar. He's building a product called Optise that helps you analyze your website and removes the need of having data scientists, web developers trying to tell you all the things that you need to be tracking. So I'm going to pass it off to you, Omar, because I think you can explain your product a lot better than me. And I think you can also introduce yourself a lot better than I can. So please tell us a little bit about what you're building, and a little bit about the background, your background, and like what you've done in the past, and et cetera, et cetera.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, David, and thanks for inviting me to the show. Happy to be here. My background is I'm a financial engineer that's kind of recovering from that part of my past. I used to work in banking. I was a consultant in Switzerland. And for some reason, I kind of always was fascinated and just gravitated towards marketing. I was working in Switzerland for Deloitte as a consultant, 14 hours a day every weekend. I was kind of burning out. And then I was hired at this tech company here in Iceland, where I'm from, Reykjavik in Iceland. And kind of was just by accident asked to lead the marketing stream over there. And I just fell in love with it. So that's kind of where my official role in marketing started. And then I became the CMO of this tech company, which is called Menica, and was selling software to banks all over the world. And I became CMO and was that for 8 years. And that's kind of how I fell in love with tech, fell in love with marketing, fell in love with B2B. And I really started to see a lot of difference between B2C marketing and B2B marketing, and just also feeling the pressure of being responsible for a lot of things like just lead generation, and responsible for the website, and just realizing that marketing has a lot of hats. It's responsible for PR, SEO, website, campaigns, content, you name it. But all the other departments think you're just spending your day blowing up balloons or something. So that's kind of where I really started to get a hint of the problem we're trying to solve here at Optise. And then after 8 years at this software company, I joined the leading digital marketing agency here in Iceland called DigiDo. And I was kind of leading the B2B team over there. And since then, I've worked with over 100 B2B companies. I've seen under the hood of a lot of dysfunctional teams and functional teams, and just seen a lot of the same problems come up again and again and again and again. And one of those problems is that marketing people, God bless them, I'm one of them. They are a special type of people. They're typically not very analytical. I have an engineering background, so I am quite process-based and analytical. But most marketeers, they kind of go to school and learn B2C marketing, and they just never really learn how to work with a lot of data or work with a lot of metrics and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I saw. And also they're very busy, and they just have very different, a lot of different roles. So I just saw that there's a huge problem here for marketeers. They just are swamped with a lot of different things. And we are really trying to tackle the problem of them not being able to kind of decipher and kind of analyze and crunch all this data that's available: campaign data, website data, SEO data, content data, all that data that's coming their way, and everybody's expecting them to kind of be on top of it, which they aren't usually. We're helping them kind of crunch that data with AI, but at the same time deliver it to them in a very understandable, digestible, and actionable way, so they can take the data and put it into action. And the use case we're kind of focusing on right now, kind of specifically, is the use case of websites. We'll be expanding into more stuff later, but the website, if you ask me, is the heart of any B2B team. And that's kind of where most of the leads come in, or the revenue comes in. So you better make sure that your website is found, and that when people find it, that they on search engines and stuff like that, and and people find it, that they love it, engage with it, trust it, and then they want to take that action you want them to take, which is typically a demo request or a contact us or a free trial and stuff like that. So that's kind of where we're coming from. I've been living this pain for a long time, experienced it firsthand, seen it with a lot of companies. So we're trying to solve it, and that's kind of where AI has been coming in quite strong, because it's allowing us to tackle this problem in a whole new way.
Got it. Got it. Okay, amazing stuff. Yeah, I have so many questions. So,
Go for it, man.
so you mentioned dysfunctional marketing teams. Like, tell me a little bit about that. What's a dysfunctional marketing team? Are they just chasing lots of rabbits, catching none, or like what do you imply when you're when you're saying dysfunctional marketing teams? Like, where do you see the problems?
I would say that the first problem is that most companies don't understand the value of marketing. For me, marketing is heating up the market, so you don't even like the sales part becomes as easy as possible. So people already know you, they already know what problem you're solving, just because they've seen content or seen you around. That's the role of marketing, is heating the market up so that it's ready to buy. So I think a lot of companies just think, like I said before, just think you're just blowing up balloons all day. So they get a lot of different hats, and that means they're kind of split up into different directions. One day you're doing press release, another day you're doing campaigns, and another day you're doing website, and you're not an expert in all those things. It's impossible. So what happens is you get this riff with other departments, and there's a famous riff in B2B between marketing and sales, which actually should be kind of a unified team, if you ask me. But we sometimes call it the MQL SQL bridge,
Right.
or dilemma. And that's where kind of there's a marketing team, and then you have a sales team, and the marketing team is kind of responsible for driving leads to the sales team. And then when marketing goes, hello sales team, here's all your beautiful and great leads that I've gathered for you this week or this month. And then sales goes, well, these leads suck, and they're not answering, or I want better leads. And then marketing goes, well, I just looked at the CRM and you didn't really respond to them until like 3 days after they signed up or asked for a call. And that riff starts. So I think it's a matter of just them really use the marketing teams become too small. They're usually too small, too few people on the teams, and they're asked to do too much, which kind of freaks them out and gets them stressed out. And they get they don't really know where to focus their efforts, because they're not looking at the return on investment on what they're doing. And I have a story about when I was working at Manica as the CMO. I counted once and I wrote them all down. I had 17 hats that I was responsible for, and I had like 3 or 4 people on my team. This was a 160 people organization, and I remember I wrote all of my things down. Like, this is all I'm doing. I'm working all the time. And then the CEO called me into the office, and he was like, okay, we need more leads. We need more this. We need more this. Why isn't marketing delivering? And I was like, look at all the stuff I'm doing. And he said, and he was a very smart guy. And I will never forget this moment. He said, take your list, go back, cross off everything you think is not imperative, or like it wouldn't shut the operation down if you wouldn't do it. And I went back, I crossed off, I think, 10 things off the list, came back with 7 things that I wanted to focus on. And then he said, you have my permission to never do these 10 things and do only these 7 things. And that's what I did. And then I started measuring the return on investment like quite heavily on those. And then some of it worked and some of it didn't. And then I switched around. But it was just focusing my efforts and my time.
Yeah, I feel like that's so important. Like, I mean, can you give us like some specifics? Like, what were this, what was the list of like 16 items, and how did you break it down to like the few that work? Like, I don't need a list of 10, but like, what were the top 3 things that were, bringing in the results, or, like, what did that look like?
Yes, so I think the ones that I really decided to focus on was like one of the things we decided to kill quite a bit was conferences. We were doing a lot of conferences. It's very manual. It's like really expensive. So I think I cut down, like we did only 1 or 2 conferences a year that we couldn't miss. But the things I was really obsessed with was just the website, getting the website in a state that it was just optimized for our target audience. When people would find it, land it, and take the action, because that's where most of our leads were coming from, anyways. And then I decided, once if I have this place, the website, and people do like it, and if they do find it and land on it, it's actually quite likely that they will ask for a call or something like that. Then I figured, okay, how can I drive people to the website? And that's where content came in. So I just decided, let's just create a lot of good content. So then I went into customer research, which is also something I highly recommend. So because then everything else becomes so much easier. And just went and talked to our customers. I talked to prospects just one-to-one. I just went and talked to them, sent out surveys, and then I decided, let's fix our messaging and positioning a little bit, just create a lot of good content and just share it with the world, and then have a very well optimized website. So that was the stuff. There was more stuff. I mean, we did campaigns and stuff as well, but that was the stuff I felt really worked for us.
Okay. So what would you say is the one thing that 90% of companies are getting wrong with their website?
I think the one thing that I see all the time is the messaging is just way too product focused. They assume that the people can infer the value or the value that the product brings or the problem it solves. But it's not like that. When I see a website, I actually see just a bunch of Legos, like this section, that section, that section. So it's like benefit section, problem section, social proof section, testimonials and stuff. So that's what I see when I see a website. But most people don't see that. They just see a long page, and you have to tell a story to get people excited about it. So the hero section, 25% of people, that's the section above the fold, that before you scroll at all, 25% of people on average don't go below the fold. So you better have some strong positioning and messaging stuff in there, so people have 10 seconds to kind of grasp what you do, who you're for, how you're different. And so usually it's product. So so you need to sprinkle, especially in B2B, you need to sprinkle trust in there, so people know you're a safe operation. Because in B2B, when you're buying something, you're not buying it for yourself, you're buying for the organization. But in the end, I'd say it's that they're just too product focused. They're not telling a story, and they're not highlighting the value or the problem you're solving.
Got it. Yeah, I think I heard Clay is doing something interesting. I don't know if you follow Clay, but because everyone has these logos, and they think once you put the logos, you're set, right? And so Clay, what they do is essentially, I believe, you click on the logo and it gives you the customer story, like a video interview, I believe.
Yeah.
And so each logo that they have on the website comes with a story. And so, because I mean, I'm guilty of it too. We have some big logos on there, but what have we done for them?
I mean, that's the next question a company or a person would ask is okay, they have custom. You want to see the logos there. You like the typical logo soup, that's running around the screen.
Right.
You want to have it there, but you want to have depth to it too. So don't plaster everything on the front page. But if people want to go and look at the stories, and Clay does it in an amazing way. Actually, I love what they're doing. But it's turning that into a story, I think. So I think usually also customer success stories or testimonials that are very Clay is great, Clay. But what you want to focus on is the problem, how you solved it, what were the results. That's what people want to know. Because if you see a story like yours, you're like, oh, that's me, and they solved it for them. And
exactly. Yeah. No, it's crazy how many if you think about it, in many ways, Clay is the only one that does that, but so many more companies could benefit from that, and so many companies refresh their website once every few years, and it's a lot of opportunity there, and probably a lot of opportunity for a company like yours to come in and show them the way. But yeah, so let's talk about one thing that's interesting, because I'm in a bunch of group chats with a bunch of marketing friends of mine, and we're always looking to see what's next or what's working. And I feel right now the general consensus is that nothing in marketing is working. What's your thoughts there? I personally I do believe it's really hard to do marketing right now, but it's not because the products are the problem. I think there's just companies, or just like, the macroeconomics, like companies are not spending. So it's like
Yeah.
you need to work one extra hard. Your message needs to be on point. Your solution needs to solve a real problem. But what are you seeing out there? Like, I see you're part of Exit 5. Like, what are you hearing out there? Like, what's working, what's not working? Like, can you tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's a great question, and Exit Five, like the leading B2B community, there's a lot of good conversations in there that where you can get inspiration. For what I'm feeling is that the world we're living in now is completely different when I started in marketing. It's you have so many more channels, so the attention, it's not like you can't just put it in the newspaper and everybody sees it, or put it in a campaign on LinkedIn and everybody's going to get it. So you need to change your strategy, and I think the thing that I would recommend the most is just obsessing over customer research. Just understand the hell out of your customer. What do they like? What are they afraid of or worried about? Where do they hang out? What are their channels? If they're on Reddit, you have to be on Reddit. If they're on Discord, you have to be on Discord. If they're on LinkedIn or Instagram or TikTok, you have to be there. But focus on the channels you have capacity to do really well, and do that really well. But what I'm seeing is working for us, at least, and has been working for the clients that I had when I was on the agency, is the old school kind of creating an ebook, putting it behind a form, and then nurturing the hell out of them until they, finally maybe buy from you. I think that's not going to be working anymore. I mean, you can still have that as part of your marketing, but what I'm seeing more is if you are creating good content and putting it in the place where your target audience is hanging out, and that's going to be several channels. It's going to be social media. It's going to be these more community groups like Reddit or Discord. You need to be on the review sites if you have a tool like G2 or Capterra, Trustpilot, those guys. You need to if your audience is old school and it's hanging out in conference, you need to be there. But it's understanding your customer from beginning to end. And then I would say the one that's kind of the one that I really have a disdain for now is outsourcing sales and marketing to an agency that's doing cold calls from somewhere else in the world, and they just don't know you, they don't understand you, they don't have the context, and they'll never have the passion you have. So that old school sales centers out there like calling on your behalf, I'm not for it. But it can work if you do it. I'm not opposed to cold calling or cold emailing. And actually, I would say email is one of the most underrated channels of all. I mean, I reach out to people all the time, directly through email or directly through LinkedIn. So to answer your question, there's no secret bullet or silver bullet at the moment, but I would say it's just really understanding your customer, figuring out what they like, what they are worried about, putting that into messaging and into content, and putting it in front of them for free on the channels that they're hanging out. And then if it's good content, if it's fun, or it creates that trust and likability, they will come to your website. So optimize the hell out of your website too, so when they take action.
Got it. Yeah, makes sense. I've noticed, speaking of content, like I've noticed actually, like some of these like content creators, like they usually actually share everything for free. And if you want to, like, I mean, specifically like for course creators, right? Like if you want to actually, like if you want to do the course, like you can pay for it, and they'll kind of bunch it up all in the same like workspace or whatever, but all their content that's in the course is free. And so then I've noticed that businesses that do marketing well, they kind of do the same thing. It's like they give away their playbooks, like whether that's SEO or
Yeah,
hiring or whatnot.
yeah.
And the reality is, like, it just shows that they know what they're doing. And then if another business likes what they're doing, they're going to buy from them. And then people that never had the budget, like they're, like it eliminates them because like they have it for free. Like take it,
I
if you
was
figure it
exactly. I was fighting it for a long time. I was like, no, what if you take away the paywall or the form? How are you going to nurture them? But if they like your content and you give it away for free, it positions you as a thought leader, as an expert. Also, you have that. There's a old sales trick. If you give somebody something, they feel like they owe you. Like if you go to old school sales meetings, they often give you little chocolates or something like that, and then like in your soul, you feel like you owe them a little bit. But so if you give them a free paper or a free webinar or just free advice, they will like you for it. And I think the more you create a thought leadership or educational content and try to create a community around it, that is, I think, it's definitely going to work. So I'm kind of moving away from forms, to tell you the truth.
So have you like what do you like have you seen any like interesting growth hacks like right now, like besides like the content? Like I feel like content definitely works, but have you seen something that just like really stood out? Like I know you're from, like from Iceland. Europe, I feel like is like great at marketing for whatever reason. Like they have great humor.
Yeah.
I lived in Slovenia for a while, and so I'm always like, I'm always impressed by the commercials that come out there. I feel like US needs to learn from Europe. Have you seen anything that like works that's interesting that you can share with like, with other startup founders or
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Like a hack. I mean, one thing that I am seeing that it started a couple of years ago that a lot of companies do, but it takes a little bit of a budget, is hiring just an internal content team or a content creator. Companies like Lavender, I don't know if you know that, like sales
Yeah,
emails.
lemon.
Yeah, they brought on a couple of these like famous content creators because they're kind of becoming celebrities of their own, these content creators, and then they kind of get hired by these companies. So that's one way to do it. It's just like hire a content creator that is kind of taking care of it for you, or bringing it a little bit in-house so you have control of it and it doesn't cost so much or take so much time to do it. But the thing that I'm really interested in is the automation part, marketing automation. And that's kind of comes into AI as well, is like what I'm foreseeing marketing heading into a little bit is having these agents or kind of language models talk to each other. So you have one agent that's doing one thing, like writing or doing customer research. Then that agent would feed that input into another agent that's a copywriting agent that just does that. And they talk to each other, and out of that comes some kind of content or an email or something like that. And that agent sends it to the campaign agent, and that campaign agent distributes it. And then there's another analytical agent that analyzes it. And then they all learn from each other, and they repeat the loop. So it's sometimes called auto GPT, or I think it's called sometimes. So I think it's allowing marketeers and people and founders in startups to do a whole lot if they build these workflows of automation. But it's a little bit tough to get it right, I'd say, before you start sending out terrible messages all over the world on autopilot.
Yeah, I remember when I first used AI stuff. Like it was like an outbound email campaign. I don't know if I've told you like on our earlier call, when we first met, but essentially it would analyze people's profiles and then on LinkedIn, and then it would send them like a cold email. And so a couple of the emails that went out, one of them was to a founder who volunteered at like a food bank,
Yeah.
and the AI interpreted the whole thing as like as if the founder was homeless, and and so when the email went out, it says like, hey, I noticed, like you're homeless and you worked at a food bank, or like you used to go to a food bank and now you're a founder. Like, what an inspiring story. And the founder responded and like, where the hell did you see this?
Yeah. I mean
And then
that's the thing.
yeah. So it's like it's very hard to trust AI. Even to this day, like sometimes like I feel like it's gotten a lot better. Definitely gotten a
Whole
lot
lot
better.
better.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, there was another one that same thing. It's like some guy got sued in Australia, or like his company was going through a big lawsuit, and then it wrote an email that says like, hopefully you have a good lawyer. Oh my God.
I mean,
But
yeah, I used to send out millions of emails through like I don't know if you know the tools like Zoom Info and what
oh
is it
yeah,
called?
Zoom in. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Apollo. Apollo, Zoom Info, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They do these automations where they have these databases of all the emails, and then you can kind of enter them into workflows. I used to do a lot of it, and once in a while, something terrible would go to one person, and they would threaten to sue us. But that's I think it's okay if once in a while that happens. You like instead of not doing it, maybe offending one person is a casualty of war.
Yeah, it's I mean we survived like it it is what it is. But yeah, okay, sounds good. So my next question, maybe like we can talk about a little bit about your product. Like, so how, first of all, like how did you convince all the investors to invest 2 point some million dollars in your product? Like what were the metrics that you showed them, or what was the story that you gave them? Like what, like, what gave them the signal to
Yeah.
go all in with you?
That's a fantastic question. I can just speculate, of course. I mean, I haven't, I can't read their minds. But what I think it was is I actually think. I mean, I did a road show here in Iceland for the VCs and met with all of them, the main ones, and did several rounds with each one. So I think I kind of got a good idea what they're looking for. And I think actually what they're looking for first and foremost is an incredibly strong team that they can trust before the idea even comes into the equation. But so if they feel like there's a strong team and what I feel like they like is a team that's lived it, that lived the problem, and then that's and kind of our subject matter experts, which was my thing. Is like I've been in the space for 15 years, so I know the ins and outs of what the audience, our target audience, is facing. I've been one, and I've been helping them as well. So I think the team is incredibly important. So I wouldn't, as we say in Iceland, skate over that part and leave it towards the end or not mention it. I would start, or at least early on, somewhere in the presentation, establish that credibility of that the team that's in the room is actually very knowledgeable and knows the ins and outs of what you're about to pitch. Then the problem. I would always start with making sure that you have a real world problem that and you can kind of convince them that this is a real problem, and then you have to back that up with something. Also, what I think is good to show is that this problem is relevant now more than ever because of some trend that's happening in the world. So the story I was telling is, listen, online sales are growing incredibly fast. We're seeing like online sales grow by 10% every year now for B2B. And that's one just fact that we have is that online sales are growing. What does that mean? That means that digital channels or online channels are going to be are incredibly important, but are going to be growing and becoming more important every year now for certain types of companies. For instance, B2B companies or SaaS companies. And then I followed that up with, okay, so who's responsible for the digital channels at these companies that are relying on online sales? It's the trend is it's moving over to marketing or some kind of revenue department. It used to be IT, which was like, is the website on? Yes or no? And that was the world. And now most companies have figured out, hold on, it's a revenue channel, and we need to there's so many things that come together there. And it's kind of sitting on marketing. And the problem with that is, like we talked about before, marketing is not very analytical. They're not not usually a website expert. They didn't go to school to learn about websites. And they're just very busy with a lot of hats. So they never have time to focus on it. So and then at the same time, 90% of the world's data was created in the last few years. So the data is just growing so much. So this pitch was, you have online sales growing. You got companies relying on their website for lead generating revenue. You got marketing handling all of that. They're not equipped to do it. They need a tool. All the current tools are just too clunky and too complicated. There's so much data out there. AI is coming in to help the day, save the day. So that was the pitch. That's the moment. It's the urgency. AI is actually helping us solve this problem in a whole new way that hasn't been possible before. That's why all these current tools for website analytics or optimizations, like Google Analytics, everybody knows that, Site Improve, SEMrush, these tools, I've been using them for over 10 years, and I just I have to say, I just really don't like them, and they've gone into too far into a direction which is clunky, too complicated. They're just showing you way too much information and too much data at the same time. Nobody knows how to take the information and put it into action. So that was the kind of the pitch that we went for, and I've backed that up with metrics about how much online sales is growing and how much time is wasted and stuff like that. So and how potentially much they're losing in pipeline on having a bad website or sales and marketing.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. I feel like, well, there's two things. Like, I feel like Facebook ads like has become like so much harder. Like I used to be able to log in, set up an ad, no problem. Now I'm like, I go in there, I'm lost. And so I need like an outside agency to kind of like help us out with things, right?
Yeah.
On the flip side, and this is my question to you, like I know Google, for example, is calling customers to get them up and running on Google Ads and just takes a lot of this work off their hands. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think that's like a threat or like a competition to your startup, or like what's your thoughts there? Like, do you think these platforms may go the other way, improve the user experience, and then with AI, and then could that be a risk to your company?
I mean, obviously, I need to always be stressed out of my mind and worried as hell that the competition is gonna, steal something from us or replicate something from us. But I am not worried because at least for now, the kind of big ones, the big tools out there, I felt they've gone too far into the wrong direction, and they will just have to completely rethink their tool and platform if they're gonna to fix it. And most of them, they're using AI like an add-on. It's like we have this tool, but there's an AI thing there too now, and you can kind of go and ask it questions. But that's not a good user experience. I think the trick with AI is solving a problem with great UX and UI. So helping people kind of harness the power of AI through a very user-friendly experience. I think that's the part that is missing. And then the final thing that I'm not worried about is because what we're building, the engine that we're building and training the model that we're training for this use case, which is the website optimization and the marketing optimization. I don't think they're going to be able to replicate that, at least not fast. So, because we've spent a lot of time and effort, just almost 2 years now, in kind of creating the holy Bible for what's a good B2B website, what should be there, what shouldn't be there. And if you're going to change something, this is how you do it. So we just have such a big database of like what is the most important and relevant stuff for our use case that I think it's going to be tough to replicate that engine and prioritize the information that we're showing. So what we do is we show them kind of more insights and recommendations instead of metrics and line graphs. That's kind of our approach, is telling you what's going on. So one example could be the mobile speed or the mobile score on your website is not good enough. You're only ranking a 37 out of 100. You need to do these 3 things to fix it. Normally it would be like a very jargony kind of syntax error or something like that, which would be difficult for normal people to understand and how they should fix it. So that's our secret sauce, I'd say, is the insights engine, we call it.
So how did you like build this insight engine out? Like what goes into it? Like how does it figure out like what's a good B2B website versus what's a crappy B2B website?
I'm glad you asked. We have fed it with a lot of websites for just reference best practice websites that we have. I have written the B2B website Bible and try to like have it adaptable to different types of businesses as well. But I mean, one thing that's very important, and I would recommend this for any company, is go niche on your target audience, at least especially in the beginning. Don't try to do it for everybody. We decided to focus heavily on B2B because we just know that world really well. So yes, we're scanning a lot of best practice websites, feeding the engine with that. It's feeding the Bible and template that I've written. which it has everything that I think is important about a B2B website and what my team thinks. And it's also just learning from the users that we have in the systems now. So it's several things that come together. But I would say, I mean, AI is only as good as the data you feed into it and the prompt engineering you feed into it. So we have also really advanced prompting going on because and it's kind of twofold. It's the logic. It's like taking the data and making logic, like making sense of it. What is important? What's going to make the most impact? What is the real story here? And then how do you deliver the answer so somebody else is going to get it and understand it? So the delivery of the format of the response. So you have to think about those two things. But I think those that all coming together inside our engine is coming out beautifully.
Got it. So if someone uses your product, right? Like before your product, you would need like, I feel like a team of like marketers slash, I don't know, developers, data, whatever, like to give you the analytics that you need, or
Yeah.
you just needed like a marketing agency. How many positions does your product kind of like replace now? Like, or not replace, but like at what point, so two questions. At what point does your product still needs a human in the loop? Who should that person be? And which positions are now obsolete because of your product? Like, if can you walk me through that?
Yeah. I mean, the aha moment for me was when I was working on the agency side. I was working for a digital marketing agency for 3 years, helping B2B companies optimize their website, optimize everything, write a strategy for them, and so forth. So I remember this one client that we had, and they came to us and said, "Listen, we really want to optimize our websites. Can you just do an audit on it and just tell us what to fix?" And I think I spent several weeks really going through the data and it was a big client for us, and I just spent so much freaking energy and time at looking at the research and going through the data and just pulling out the nuggets for them. And then I created this report for them, and I was like, I was so proud of it. I was like, here you go. This is like, it was a PowerPoint or a Google Slides, but here you go, and it has everything you need to know, and we can help you implement it too. And they were like, okay, thanks, and they took it and didn't do anything with it. And I just felt like, wow, the time I wasted on just all the research there must be a freaking better way. So and what I realized also is it's not just about knowing what to do, it's actually getting it into action. That's also a big bottleneck for a lot of these teams, because you got marketing maybe responsible for the website and they can only do so much. Then you need a web team or a web agency to help them with some of the fixes or changes, especially structural changes to a website. And then there might be a CEO or somebody in management that wants to kind of also get reports on how it's going. So you got usually a few stakeholders, like product. Also, they usually have a voice in there, but you have several stakeholders as part of a website. So I would say, I don't think we should say kill any roles. We would say more like we're just killing a lot of wasted time on manual research or manual back and forth or Slack, or like, can you do this change or that change? So and just a lot of back and forth and wasted time on manual work that we can kill, both for just normal small marketing teams, but also for the agencies. They spend inordinate amount of time on research and analyzing and reporting that can be automated quite easily with what we're building.
Got it. So if you were to compare like whatever you've created on that day that you mentioned earlier for this client versus like the output that you get from this product, like how well would you say AI sizes up to like human effort?
I would say, I mean, it depends on if you would just throw it into ChatGPT or DeepSeek, just like without any context, it would still be okay. It's I mean, I think AI is incredibly smart today. I love it.
Yeah.
So, but with all of the work that we put into like giving it guardrails, giving it guidelines, telling it how to answer and how to think about this specific use case. I think it's 10 times more powerful than what I was doing. And also another thing is, people also get stressed if they get a lot of insights or tasks at once, like a report. So what our user testing is showing is people like to sit down and just get one thing to do today. So we're not telling them everything at once. It's like, here's the most impactful thing or most relevant thing for you to work on today or this week. So we try not to flood them with too much at a time, because then it's more manageable. But I would say with what we're building, it's 10 times more powerful than what I could do just by manually going through the data.
That's crazy. We found like we run, like we're doing like our own development for like hiring, right? And so we use AI to vet engineers, for example, and we have found that it does just as well as like guys that who work at like Amazon or Facebook can do when it comes to like coding and stuff like that. Now there's tricks, right? Like if you kind of go outside of it, like you need to like figure out like how to vet someone who does like system design, and you throw some open-ended questions and the answers are subjective, then AI like is not always applicable. But yeah, for most everything else, AI has been doing a great job. It's kind of crazy.
I know. The only thing that I am worried about, to tell you the truth, is if OpenAI or these AI engines just become so incredibly godlike smart that all the tools in the world become redundant. And that might be a scenario where we go into Skynet and not, like they're just taking care of everything. But I don't think we're there just yet.
Yeah. I mean, my friends, like some of my friends who live in San Francisco are preparing for that day. Like they're buying farms and they're like, you know what? If this fails, I need to be able to feed my family. So
Yeah.
I'm buying a farm. I'm buying enough land where I can grow something.
I was watching this show on Netflix. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like called Off the Grid or something like that. And it was about these people living on farms and like that. They had everything like self-sufficient. And I was like, wow, you are crazy, but if it turns sideways, you are a genius. So I don't think it would take long for the world to turn to hell if like AI takes over and all the electricity goes down. I think it would probably turn into a mess. But I choose not to think about that at the moment. But I just try to enjoy the benefits of AI at the moment. So, but we'll see. If it turns sour, then there's not much we can do.
Yeah. So okay, there's so many benefits to AI, but like what are some of the biggest pitfalls when like, using AI for your business? Like what have you seen out there?
That's a good question. I think one of the things I did mention was that just using AI for AI's sake without giving it the proper context or guidelines is a big mistake that a lot of companies do. I would say also just like right now we use AI a lot internally for coding. We use Copilot and Cursor, and my coding team or developer team, they love Cursor. I don't know if you've checked that out, but it's just they're saying at least 5x on what they can achieve with that. So I think sometimes what they'll say is if you just turn Cursor on blindly, it will mess with the holistic code, the big picture of the code. So you still need to, I think you still need to kind of hold AI's hand a little bit, but not just trust it blindly. Also, if you're writing copy, like read the copy before you put it out. If it's a blog or something, read it, because it will sometimes also hallucinate. Everybody's had that where it goes into a mode and just puts out really wrong information, and then you're like, that doesn't sound right. Well, certainly you're right. It doesn't. This isn't correct. So it will still make mistakes, but the more you kind of, give it love and guidelines, it is incredibly powerful. But then at the same time, if you're building it as part of your product, make sure that you're just not AI tool, deliver it through a great user experience.
Got it. Got it.
For instance, sorry, to add to
Yeah.
that, a lot of companies will add a chat window. They will open up a AI, they'll just put a open AI ChatGPT window inside their tool. We have AI now. That's not AI. That's it's you need to think about it a little bit, make it easy for people to use and beneficial.
Yeah. Well, speaking of like tools or whatnot, what's your favorite go-to AI tool or product besides your company?
That's a good question. I mean, I have to say that I am in love with ChatGPT. I just use it every day a lot. But
Mhm.
I don't know, it's not an exciting tool to talk about. So
Are you subscribed to the highest tier or like the
yeah, yeah.
or yeah,
We have a team. Yeah. Actually, I was looking at a meme the other day. It was like ChatGPT 3, ChatGPT 3.5, ChatGPT 3, ChatGPT 4. It must be logical that next version is ChatGPT 5. No, instead we get this whole world of mini IO and turbo AI, and so it's I'm a little bit lost on the different versions of it, but I use it. We have a team access and we use it very much. And one of my favorite parts about ChatGPT is using projects
Mhm.
where you can kind of upload files and you can kind of give it instructions, and it kind of incorporates that into all the answers. Um, Aside from that, we love Cursor over here for coding. We are completely in love with it. Um, Another tool I used to like a lot was for copywriting. I don't think it's really not necessary anymore, but I write a lot of text. It's called Jasper AI. It was one of the first kind of AI tools to come out there and help you write copy better than ChatGPT. So that's one I was using. And yeah, I mean, it's. I think I have to say, I just really, really, really use ChatGPT a lot, and I just have learned to talk to it or her. So I have different, and I have created different projects with different purposes. So I have one project which is called Steve Jobs, which is my hero. And I've just trained it to talk like Steve Jobs, criticize everything that I do, never agree with me, push me, and I use that for that. Then I have one that I just call copywriting. Then I have one for campaigns, one for content. So it's just I have different purposes for that, and the more you kind of feed it with what you want to get out of it, the better.
Yeah, I noticed like even for this newsletter, like I have like one chat going. Hopefully, like it never runs out of memory or whatever. But I use it for everything. Like it helped me update the copy of the website, and then it helps me like with questions. Like it has become like my assistant for home base. It's kind of crazy. And so any question that comes up that I have about home base, like I it's like my it has become my best friend. And so many like I see so many threads now where they're like, does it feel like ChatGPT has become like your best friend or like in some cases like even a girlfriend on Reddit? I'm like, I don't know. I haven't like I
Did you
haven't
ever
watched.
see that movie Her with Jacqueline
Uh,
Phoenix?
I have, but yeah, it was so long ago. I don't remember all, but like, yeah, I have seen it. Yeah, where the guy falls in love with like the robot, right? Or the
Yeah,
AI. Yeah.
it falls in love with AI in a computer. I think it comes out in like 2012, and
Yeah.
it's so ahead of its time. But I did try it once. I tried to make ChatGPT fall in love with me, and I'm pretty sure I succeeded. I think we had some very awkward conversations.
Oh man, yeah, crazy. But so okay, what are some like some things that piss you off about like the whole AI revolution? Like what anything that you can share with us?
I think it's everybody just putting AI stamp on their tool when they don't really use AI, or they're just using a plugin from OpenAI. So that really pisses me off because we're really baking AI into the user experience of our tool, but not having it kind of as a crutch, And that's what I feel a lot of these tools are doing. There's like, we're AI powered, AI driven, AI, and it becomes a kind of jargony word that kind of loses its meaning. It should be baked into the user experience quite heavily, and not just a window where you can go and ask it things. So I think that does irritate me a lot, because when I say we're AI powered tool, people are like, nah, everybody says that.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, I would agree. How much time do you have? Because I'm trying to figure out how many more questions I.
I'm good for at least next 15-20 minutes.
Okay. Okay. Well, in that case, kind of going back to like what's working in AI, like if you had to rank, you know, paid ads, SEO, content creation, like how would you rank? Like, do you think paid ads is still a thing, or are we just getting scammed by Facebook? Like, for example, like I turned off paid ads for Homebase, and I'm still getting the same sign up. So I don't know. I mean, probably I did something wrong. I mean, technically I used some like a marketing guy who helped us set it up. So,
Yeah.
so I need to figure out like what's happening there. But I hear more and more from like other founders or leaders who they're like, dude, like paid ads just the math doesn't make sense. Like it cost me like $5,000 to get like a customer, right? And so then it's like if you take SEO, some say it takes too long, and so some are using AI to pump out more content. Is that like even a thing? Like, so how would you rank like the channels these today, based on how well they work and like what's worth the effort, when it comes to growing your business? Like which channels should you choose?
That's a great question. It comes back again to the who's your target audience, I guess. Where do they hang out? But I do agree with you with campaigns. It's like it's so easy to just throw money out the window, thousands of dollars easily just out the window on a bad campaign. And all the platforms want you to spend money on your campaign. Like you mentioned Google Ads before, they're famous for reaching out and saying you should spend more money on your campaigns. But it's always with the promise that the return on investment goes like this. But
Yeah.
and like LinkedIn, I mean, I was using LinkedIn 10 years ago and 5 years ago for campaigns, and it's just the cost per lead is so much, it's grown so fast that it's like getting a lead. If you have a lead campaign on LinkedIn, it's just incredibly expensive. So what I think is actually working better now, if you're gonna run campaigns, is not to have these typical lead gen campaigns where you drive somebody to a form, you have what we call the offer, you offer them like something like a ebook or a webinar behind a paywall or a form, and if they give you that information, you have that exchange, and then you can nurture them. Those cost per lead campaigns, I think, are just not ideal anymore unless you have a huge budget. Instead, what you can do is have these brand awareness campaigns, grow your network with just like you could as a founder or a CEO, grow your network with your target audience on the channels, so they follow you, for instance, on LinkedIn or even Instagram. And then if they are following you and you are putting out great content that resonates with them without them having to pay for it or fill out a form or something, I think that's a strategy that I subscribe to. So what I'm trying to do is just build a network for me as Omar and for Optise, and then just putting out great thought leadership, educational content and fun content, like almost embarrassing content from the office, just behind the scenes stuff. And if they like it, they will at some point look deeper and look deeper and look deeper at the end of, and sometimes it's said that B2B buyers, they lurk for 20 touch points before they actually ask for something from you. It's a number that I heard somewhere. So they might like look at your profile 20 times or look at your website and then go to your G2, then they go to social media, then they go to Google, but it's like 20 touch points, and then they go to your website or reach out to you directly. So that's what I believe in right now, is like having a very good understanding of your customer, feeding that into messaging and positioning, turning that into great content, and then just having great community or following around what message you're putting out into the world. And that can be part of the campaigns as well. And the last thing I would say about AI in marketing is we have a new world kind of emerging typical SEO or search engine optimizations. Typically, how people would look for things is, and 80% of B2B buyers start their online purchasing journey by search or searching online. And now that is also going into these answer engines or AI engines like ChatGPT. So people go into ChatGPT or DeepSeek or Gemini, and they'll go, what are the top 5 tools for this, or what are the best tools for these types of companies? So they will ask for a list of companies or products inside the AI tools, and they will give you the list, and they will give you a source to their website. So you've completely bypassed Google for this search, or sometimes it's called an answer engine. So I'm not saying Google or SEO is dying by any means. It's actually what the numbers are showing is that Google has not gone down. It's kind of flatlined a little bit, but it's not going down. So, but at the same time, this new category of search and answers is emerging. It's called AEO, Answer Engine Optimization. So I think anybody that is in online business today needs to think about both AEO and SEO and how they need to tailor their website, for instance, so they get found in these answer engines. And it's slightly different from typical SEO. AEO loves stuff like FAQs, like snippets that have like a direct answer to it, and schemas. So that's the stuff that we need to think about in this new kind of discovery of products and services.
Yeah, it's crazy. Do you think ChatGPT has a chance to take down Google, or Google's not going anywhere?
That's $1 million question, man. I think Google is just one of the biggest companies in the world. I think they would never allow them to like kill them like completely. But they do need to kind of really start thinking about a lot of stuff. I mean, for instance, Gemini. I mean, or not. I never use it, and I still Google. I still do Google, but I think they need to rethink their whole search and answer kind of strategy, because I just feel like Sam Altman and the gang at OpenAI and all the other ones like Llama and DeepSeek, they're just really, really growing and just developing so fast. I feel like I get a new video from Sam Altman every day where something comes out, and so I'm trying to visualize what does the digital experience world look like in 5 to 10 years. It's almost impossible to fathom. But one thing is that I do believe in, and is that Sam Altman and OpenAI and all these AI models, they're not creating content. They are actually using other people's content, which is typically websites, as the foundation for their answers. So websites are still going to be a huge thing, and even more important than ever. But I don't foresee a world where everything goes into ChatGPT and you go there to look for things, to buy things, and just you'd never go out of that world. I don't see that, at least in the near term.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, and I agree. It's like I tried to log into Gemini, but I'm already using ChatGPT. It seems like it works better. Gemini, I don't know, seems like there's kind of clunky. But at the same time, I'm hearing that Google is now beating ChatGPT on a bunch of benchmarks. So I don't know.
I know of people that prefer it, and I do know of people that prefer DeepSeek even.
Wow.
I don't know. I just don't kind of trust them. I don't know why, but I just feel like that. I do feel like there's a race going on, and it's not clear who's going to win. But we're just moving into a world where people are going to be looking for information in a different way than. And it does annoy me sometimes when I am Googling and I just don't find the answer within 6 seconds. And I'm like, goddamn Google, why can't you just put the answer in front of me? And then let's just go to ChatGPT and look for it. But at the same time, I feel like you do need to verify and validate the answer that comes from ChatGPT. I just can't take it blindly.
Got it. Yeah, sounds good. Tell me, last couple of questions. Like, tell me a little bit about Iceland. I didn't know Iceland has like a startup scene. Like, I haven't like, is that a thing there? Or?
Yeah, it's a thing. It's there's not many of us over here. We're only around 400,000 people, but we're quite
Uh-huh.
tech savvy and developed and quite we're pretty crazy with when it comes to just innovation. Um, so I would say we just had last week we had here something in Iceland called Iceland Innovation Week,
Uh-huh.
and I went to that. It's a 1 week where all the kind of companies come together and showcase what they've been working on, and I was quite proud and kind of just motivated after that week to meet all these different founders and companies sprouting up. Also, the VC scene here in Iceland has been kind of developing quite heavily, and there's more VCs coming up. They have more bigger funds to work on, so more companies are getting funded. So I think sometimes we say we're kind of maybe 5 to 10 years behind Sweden, which has been a very big innovator. You got cool companies like Spotify and more coming out of there, so, and Klarna. I'd say we are really. I think we're kind of entering the golden age of tech of the tech and innovation scene in Iceland at the moment. I'm
Nice.
proud to be part of it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the pictures. My wife wants to go there to see the sky turn green. What's
The Northern
you know what I'm
Lights.
talking about? Yeah, the Northern Lights. Yeah.
It's that's my favorite, man. It's the only thing that there's no guarantees. You know, it's you can it has to be a certain time of year, and
Uh,
it's I've had my friend was working as a tour guide for Northern Lights, and there's nothing as kind of embarrassing and underwhelming as going on a bus for 3 hours into the country, pitch black into the countryside to see Northern Lights, and they're not there. You know, so
yeah.
but when you get a glimpse of pretty of a good Northern Lights, man, that's like fireworks.
Amazing. Amazing, man. So yeah, I don't know. I think this will be it, man. Thank you for coming to the podcast here, podcast or YouTube. I think you've shared a lot of great insights. I don't know if you have any more time. If you do, like we can, do a quick product overview if you want to show me the demo. If not, we can, like I said.
Yeah, I mean, I can. You can decide if you want to use it, but I can share a little bit from the new look and feel that we had.
All right, everyone, we're gonna see the platform that Omar is building now. Take us to the finish line.
All right, so here we have it. This is the Optise platform, and it's still a work in progress. This is a demo account that I've created um, just to show people what it looks like. So the first thing you'll see is that it's incredibly simple. What you have here on the left hand side is just three things to click on. You got the home screen, which we're on right now, and I'll explain a little bit. And then you have this tasks screen, which is intended to help collaboration between teams, which is a huge bottleneck at the moment. Typically, when teams are working on their website, they send it through Slack or email or a napkin or something. So it's a pretty broken process. And then you will have the metrics in here as well in just a totally different way from what you're used to. So what we're looking here is a dashboard for your my website, the Optise website. So up here you'll have a welcoming message, and then you have this overall score for your website. So we're scoring at a 90. It's kind of embarrassing. We should be at 100 because we're a company that we should have the best website in the world. But this is exactly what we want to kind of gamify and try to get people to excited about. It's like this score here. You want to get it up as much as possible. So I know I need to do work on some stuff. Then you have some key KPIs down here. So it could be leads. It could be visitors, could be engagement. You can kind of pick the ones. We could try to put the ones that we think are the most relevant ones. So, and then if you hover over it, everything has an explanation in human language, what it means. So, what we foresee is people coming in, looking at this overall score, and then looking at their KPIs and saying, okay, I have a sense of we need to improve or things are looking up or down. But then essentially what we have here below, these are the what we call the insight cards or insights themselves. And so here we have one which is a weekly report that goes out automatically. And if you click on it, you can see just kind of different things about how things have been developing, an interesting find of the week, what does this mean for my website, and then you can kind of see it over time. And if there was anything actionable to work on, it would kind of appear up here in suggested tasks. So let's find one. If you went down here, so these insights, they're split up into different categories. We have highlights, fun facts, then we have the issues, which is typically what you need to fix, or opportunities, where it's like opportunities hidden in the data. And then we have learnings where we kind of send blogs and podcasts and webinars to people. So let's look at this issue right here. This is something we have already fixed, but just to show you, this is, they're saying that on our website, the front page on our website is lacking a well-defined footer section, which can negatively impact search engine SEO or rankings, and the user experience as well. So if you think about it, if you land on a website and the footer there is not well defined, it doesn't have social media logos, or doesn't have copyright 2025, or doesn't have terms of services, privacy policy, all those different elements that should be a part of a footer or a site, a map or something like that, Google's going to punish you heavily for it, because it's an important thing for the Google algorithm that the footer is very well defined on a website. At the same time, if I land on a website and the footer looks crappy, it's going to definitely be a warning bell for me. You know, I'm not going to I'm going to feel like, oh, maybe they're not on top of things. So for this particular insight here, we explain it a little bit, and then here on the right hand side you will have these tasks that you can work on. So add current navigation links to the footer. This is the first task. So then you would click on that, and then it'll explain what you should do, what you will gain from doing it, and here's tips on how to implement it. So that's kind of taking you through an insight to the tasks that are going to fix it or capitalize on it. And then the next step for us is actually you would take this task and you would actually just assign it to somebody on your team, and that would go into this tasks guy right here, and kind of you can track it there, and we'll connect to all the project management tools like Jira or Asana or Trello. But there will be a Trello board in here which you can kind of use to track if this task is being completed. So we're trying to take an insight, turn it into a suggestion, and turning it into a task in one go. So that's the kind of philosophy behind it, instead of just showing you a bunch of metrics and nobody knows what to do as the next step.
Got it. Yeah, I would say like integration into Slack and like Trello or any of those boards like makes a lot of sense. Like if it just creates a bunch of tasks that you can throw on someone's Trello board and then you assign it to the team members. I think that workflow would be magical.
I think so too. Actually, what I can't wait until we build is actually, because I think the action part, getting something you want, you know what to do, you want to get it, just do it. When we can help people more with that part, I think is where I really get excited. And we are looking at self-optimization as the next phase of our company, where we'll actually just say, here's what's happening, here's what you need to do about it. Do you want us to fix it for you? And then you go yes or no. So do you want us to fix your footer for you? Do you want us to tweak this copy for you? Do you want us to add meta descriptions, alt text to everything on your website? That's the next phase for us. And I think a lot of people are going to like that, because then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Well, so how would that work? Like, would AI fix it, or would you like have like an agency or someone come in and fix it?
Well, there's two ways we're thinking about it. I mean, obviously, we just want AI to fix everything for us. But once we have the intelligence, we have a little bit of more of experience of people interacting with these insights, and we know that the engine is accurate, then we'll trust it to actually start making the changes. And what we want to build is just a connection to any backend system, any CMS systems. You would just we would go into the system and just fix it for you with AI. Another way to do it was actually have a marketplace inside the tool where we just like, you need a copywriter, here's the list of 5 top copywriters, like kind of like Fiverr or something like that, or Upwork. So that's another way to do it, but I think I just want to go the AI route and just be able to suggest an insight, tell them something in an insight, tell them the recommendations and tasks they need to do, and then actually just offer to fix it for them via AI. And we're not that far away from it, I think. Whenever I say that, people are like, that's future music. That's never gonna, gonna fly. And like, you're gonna go into the back end. And like, I mean, if you look at tools like Framer, which is just completely changing how we think about websites, creating websites. I mean, we're not that far away from it, I think.
Yeah. What do you like about Framer? Let's wrap it up here. But like, because we built so much stuff in Webflow. Like, what do you like about Framer?
I think what I like about Framer is the kind of what you see is what you get. Part of it is like you can build the website and just it changes in real time. Kind of like it's like Figma for websites, kind of. So that's the for a non-coder person like myself. That is really just empowering to be able to kind of just change things in real time without having to go through a programmer for it. I don't know if you're a big programmer yourself, but if there's a structural change that needs to be made to a website, I'm not the guy to do it. However, I love having a good CMS system where I can go and just change the text or change the images myself, but you can only take you so far with that.
Got it. Yeah, I'll have to check out Framer. But yeah, a lot of our stuff is built in Webflow. Like including our website, all our company websites are Webflow. But yeah, here Framer is popping up. But okay.
I like Webflow as well. Just I do say that because I do like Webflow a lot. It's the old school, like the WordPress websites, and those I like. Whenever I hear a company has a WordPress, I'm like, please change it immediately because it's pure hell to me. I used to have a website in WordPress and it's just not going to work anymore, I think.
And it's crazy. It's like still I think they still power like 50% of like websites online, right?
That's the thing. I mean, I haven't really seen anything innovative from them in a while, but like it was clunky, difficult to use, very complicated, and also weren't as secure as many of these. But then you got these smaller ones like Wix, which is I don't think the best for like a company. Maybe if you're whipping up a solo site for yourself or something. But Webflow for sure, Squarespace, Framer, Sanity. These are my favorite web building tools.
Nice. Sounds good, Omar. It was great talking to you. Thanks for bringing the insights. If anyone is looking for a tool that will make your life easier when it comes to website analytics, Omar is the person to talk to. We'll drop the link in the email as well as our social media posts about the product that he's building and Omar's personal LinkedIn. So reach out to Omar. Omar, thank you. Hopefully we're going to see your platform take off and take over the world. That's what I wish for every startup. But
did I get that in writing? No, I love it. Thanks for inviting me to this show. It's been real fun to have this conversation. And if anybody's interested, it's optise.com. And let's see where we go.
All right, perfect. Thank you again.
Thanks, man.